What is going on, Swoopers? Welcome back to another episode of Swoop Luke. In this episode, we'll be talking about the 2024 fixture. Let's get into it. So we're just going to jump straight into this one. 2024 fixture was released yesterday, and you know we've had a little bit of teasers here and there. We knew we were going to play Brisbane up in Easter Thursday up at the Gabba. We knew that we were going to play Hawthorn in Gather Round. We knew that Sydney was going to be our our second game in round one to unfurl the flag, and of course we knew about opening round. Now I'm going to probably go through. Actually, I don't even know what I'm going to do. If I'm going to go through each of these fixtures that I've got up here and just talk about them all, give you a brief or give you an overview and my thoughts, and then I'd love to hear your thoughts. But look, let's kick it off with opening round / round zero. I talked about this in a couple of videos before. We played the Giants up at Giants Stadium. Giants Stadium, I think the capacity is 24,000. I dare say somehow we're going to sell it out, I reckon, right? So it's a prelim rematch, and there's been a lot of huff about the about round zero, and people don't like it, and I get why people don't like it, because it's technically, well, it's an opening round, right? And there's only 4 games, and there's no games in Victoria. What the AFL are trying to do is they're trying to capitalise on the NRL not having a lot of games up in Queensland and New South Wales that week. I thought, and everyone sort of thought, it was because the NRL were going to Las Vegas and playing a game there, but that's the week before, so it doesn't really make super sense to do it that week. But they're just trying to capitalise it, bringing the biggest clubs up to the Gold Coast and to Sydney. Carlton, Richmond, us as well. And I think it's good. I think it's really good for the New South Wales football supporters. I think it's good for the Queensland football supporters. I know New South Wales Collingwood didn't play up there at all, so New South Wales Collingwood supporters didn't get a chance to see the Pies. We usually play Sydney. We got them at the MCG last year, and we play the Giants down here twice. So for them, I think it's amazing. For us Victorians, it does suck. Like, obviously you want, if you want to see your team after just winning a premiership, you think their first game would be at the MCG in front of 98,000 people. Instead, it's up at the Giants Stadium, and as Mason Cox called it, a livestock carnival sort of stadium. I get it, and it's really frustrating, but at the same time, it's good for the supporters up there, and I really don't think it's a big deal. We get to unfurl the flag in front of Sydney the week after, and I thought we would do it against a Victorian club. I said that I thought it might have been against Geelong or someone big like that. Not that Sydney's not big, but I just didn't think it would be Sydney. So we're playing 2 New South Wales teams in a row, home and away, or away and then home. So we unfurl our premiership flag in front of Sydney, in front of Brodie Grundy, in front of Taylor Adams, and that's just going to give it a little bit of extra spice. The AFL know what they're doing, right? They know these little stories that go into each and every game. They know what happened with Nick Dacos last year and Papley and stuff like that. And now with Tay Adams and Brodie Grundy going up to the Swans, they get to come back to the MCG and watch us unfurl the flag that they really wanted at the Pies and couldn't get. And that's technically round 2, but it's round 1 because we're calling the first one round 0 / opening round. So yeah, there's a lot of huff about the opening round. I get it, but it's also just like, as Victorians, there's 10, 11 clubs in Victoria. We had grand finals at the MCG. With a heartland of footy, I think we can give away 1 week, but I understand the frustration, but there's a lot more in the world going on than not seeing your team in Victoria in the first game. We get to play them. We get to see them next week at the G. And then we get St Kilda in round 2, and then Brisbane up at the Gabba Easter Thursday, which is always a big game. I was in Bali last year when we watched this one, or when I watched this one. We got absolutely smashed. I remember that game. I was really sad for that whole day. And then we go to gather round, and we play up at the Adelaide Oval, and we play against Hawthorn. Now this is the Jack Ginnivan game. This is round 4. So that's 2 away games in a row. So we travel up to the Gabba, then travel back down to Adelaide. And I think we might have done that last season as well, if memory serves me correctly. It never does. But I feel like we had 2 away games in a row. It might have been this as well. Anyway, I don't know. But yeah, look, I think those first 5 games are pretty good. They're pretty balanced. There's 2 top 4 sides and 2 bottom of the 8 sides, and then obviously Hawthorn, who finished I think 16th last season. 16th? Yeah, 16th last season. So out of those games, I know I predicted it correctly last year. Out of those games, I've got us, again, it's probably going to be exactly like I said last season. I got us beating the Giants, beating the Swans, beating the Saints, losing to Brisbane in the grand final rematch just because of the Gabba. Hopefully not. Hopefully we go 5-0. But I've got us going 4-1 in the first 4 rounds / 5 weeks. How are we going to say that first? Because it's not the first 4 rounds. It's the first. I think we'll be referring to it as the first 5 weeks of the footy season. So then we go back down to the MCG, and we have 3 MCG games in a row. We play Port Adelaide, who's another top 4 team. The Bombers on Anzac Day, which falls on a Thursday. And then we have Carlton Friday nights at the MCG. So that's 3 MCG games in a row after 2 away games. So those, look, the first, we'll go through another couple, and then we get West Coast at Marvel the week after, and then we get the Crows at the MCG. So the first 11 weeks, which is 10 rounds plus round 0, I think that's a pretty good mixture of teams. We verse a lot of great teams. We're playing. Did I say the Giants were top 4? Before I don't think I definitely didn't mean that the Giants were top 4. They were just in the prelim. But we get Brisbane, we get Port Adelaide, who are both in the top 4. We get Carlton, who are just having a resurgence, and we know that they're always going to come hard. That's always going to be a big game. But these are all real sellout games. Yes, we play a home game at Marvel, but that's just a part of what we have to do. And it's the classic Eagles at Marvel, which reminds me of 2022 when we weren't supposed to lose that game and we lost that game. So I think that those first 11 weeks are a very good mix until we... and then we go over to Perth to play the Dockers as the away game after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games in Victoria. So that's 4 MCG and then 1 at Marvel. We travel in round 11 to Optus Stadium to take on Fremantle. Then we have the Doggies at Marvel. Now this one pisses me off. This is the one that upsets me so much. I don't mind playing West Coast at Marvel. I don't mind playing, Gold Coast at Marvel. I don't mind playing Adelaide at Marvel. I don't mind playing North Melbourne at Marvel, or maybe, right? But if you give me the Doggies at Marvel, fine. But don't call it a Collingwood home game. It doesn't make any sense. I know we have to play 2 home games at Marvel Stadium, but don't call it a Collingwood home game when it is clearly a Doggies home game, because that's their home ground. I cannot remember the last time we played the Doggies at the MCG. I really can't remember the last time we played the Doggies at the MCG. And it's kind of like, I don't remember the last time we played Sydney at the MCG, and then it happened last season. So hopefully next season we play the Doggies at the MCG, because a home game against Marvel tenants is just absolutely fried to me. Because then we've got the Big Freeze and King's Birthday the week after against Melbourne, which is going to be absolutely spicy. And then we play Marvel again against North Melbourne as an away game. Makes sense. It makes total sense why you would play an away game against North at Marvel. The Bulldogs one doesn't make sense to me. So after that round 14 North Melbourne game, that's everything. Then we have a round 15 bye. But prior to that one, all of those games have got dates and times. Now we get into the part where the AFL don't want to commit to fixtures from round 16 onwards. And that's because they really want to see how teams are performing. Do teams deserve Friday nights? Do they deserve Saturdays, Thursdays, etc., etc.? We saw a bunch of dead rubbers on Friday nights and Saturday nights last season, and they're just trying to avoid that. But going down from round 16 to 24, we only travel twice from, so that's 3, 6. So in the last 9 rounds, we travel twice, and that's once to Gold Coast after the Marvel game, after our bye in round 15, and then once to Sydney against the Swans a little bit later in the season. So pretty much we go away with Gold Coast in round 16, and then 5 MCG games in a row, and 4 of those are home games. So Essendon home, Geelong home, Hawks away, so double dose of Ginnivan, Richmond home, Carlton home, and then Sydney at the SCG, and then Brisbane again at the MCG, and then Melbourne in the last game of the season, which could dictate a lot. Those last 4, I don't really know how Richmond are going to be, but those last 4 games from round 21 to round 24, that's a really hard run. They are 4 teams who will be in and around the top 4 at this point. Carlton, Sydney, Brisbane, and Melbourne. It is going to be a hard 4 rounds into finals. Thankfully, we have that pre-finals bye if we are to make the finals, which will help. And that is pretty much it for our fixture. So we travel 6 times. We have 14 games at the MCG. We double up on a couple of the teams, and you know, I really like this fixture. I still don't think that the fixturing will ever be fair unless we're playing 17 teams, 1 bye, and then finals, or 36 games, So you're doubling it. So 34 games. So you're playing everyone twice, and that would be another fair fixturing, because you know we play. Who do we play twice before we play them? Oh, actually, not too bad this season. We don't, because I remember last season we were playing teams twice before we played them once. So we play Essendon twice before we play Geelong once. We play Hawthorn and Essendon twice before we play Richmond once. So I would love to just play the 17 teams from round 0 to 16, and then do the double ups, right? Because I don't really like, it just messes with percentage and stuff like that. We saw that a lot last season when certain teams would double up with, North Melbourne or West Coast or Hawthorn. So I'd prefer 0 to 16, give me 17 of the teams, and then we'll kick on to doubles. And the doubles are the big draw cards. They're Carlton, they're Essendon, they're Brisbane, they're Sydney. That's how I think it should be. But, the AFL will keep being the AFL, and they'll keep doing what they're doing. Like I said, I really like this fixture. It doesn't matter, okay, people are saying that this might be the 2nd hardest or the 4th hardest fixture. We have to play all these teams anyway. We're the Premier, so of course we're going to be doubling up on Premiership sides. They're not going to give us West Coast, North Melbourne, Hawthorn and Essendon to double up against. We're going to be doubling up against the best sides. We're the biggest draw card in the AFL at the moment, so of course they're going to want us doubling up on the big teams to draw crowds in, etc, etc, etc. All I know is that at the start of the season, like Craig McRae said last year after our 1-point loss to the Swans, just because we won the Premiership doesn't mean we start in 1st place. We start in 18th place, and we have to qualify again. All of this is just about qualifying for the finals, qualifying for the top 4, and hopefully going on to play finals, and hopefully going back to back. Now, as I see this fixture as our Premiership defence fixture. I see this fixture as our back-to-back campaign fixture, and that's exciting to say. We haven't said that since 2010, that we might be going back-to-back, or we can potentially go back-to-back if things fall our way, if we're good enough to go back-to-back. Out of all these games, I had us winning 4 out of 1 at the start. We got 25 rounds. How do I see us finishing? Just quickly, briefly, I think we will definitely be in the top 4. Whether we're pushing for a top 2 spot, you want to finish top 2, right? We haven't really added much to the team besides Lachie Schultz, who's just going to be extravagant in the forward line. We're only going to get better. These guys are hungry. Let me tell you, everything that I've been hearing, like from, you know, what Craig McRae's saying, all interviews with the players and stuff like that, they are hungry, and we are now the hunted. We were the hunter this year, we're the hunted next year. But I think that'll just spur us on. We have a great coach and great people around him leading this team on. I think we finished top 2, and that's just my real early preseason predictions. I'll do do another video about that later. But I think we finished top 2. I give this fixture all up 7 out of 10, or 7.5 out of 10. I really like it all. Traveling, you know, the Gabba and then going down to Adelaide sucks a little bit, you know, especially I'd probably only pick one of those to go to, and I think I'm going to go to Adelaide. I would have loved to have gone to the Gabba in Adelaide. Money just won't allow it. So I'll drive over to Adelaide Oval, watch the Gabba somewhere. But yeah, I really like this. I really like this fixture. Just bring it on. Just I can't wait for footy to start. I can't wait. I can't believe that it starts a week earlier with round 0, and we get to be a part of that, which is cool. We get to see the boys 1 week earlier, and then we get to be a part of 98,000 people that are going to flood the MCG against the Swannies and unfurl the 2023 Premiership flag. But let me know your thoughts down below. What did you think of the fixture? What do you rate it from 0 to 10, A to F, or whatever it may be? Let me know all your thoughts down below. But until then, like, comment, and subscribe. Tay family, Tay friends, Tay pets, and until next time, Double Shaggers, I'll swoop you later.